بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله. We continue reading from Imam Al-Ghazali's Jawahir al-Qur'an wa Durr, the Juz of the Quran in spares. Still reading from Surah Ash-Shu'ara, the poets. And we have reached verse 141, and now it is the story of the people of Thamud, and their prophet is Salih alayhi salam. Again, the language is rejecting the messengers, and as rejecting one messenger is rejecting all of them. The people of Thamud rejected the messengers. When their brother Salih said to them, "Will you not fear Allah? I am truly a trustworthy messenger to you. So fear Allah and obey me. I do not ask you for any reward, for this message. I don't ask you for any reward. I don't ask you for any reward, for any compensation, for any material gains. My reward is only from the Lord of all worlds." And he continues now. He reminds of the blessings of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but also what they are doing and the purpose. أعوذ بالله السميع من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم كذبت ثمود المرسلين إذ قال لهم أخوهم صالح ألا تتقون إني لكم رسول أمين فاتقوا الله وأطيعون وما أسألكم عليه من أجر إن أجري إلا على رب العالمين أتتركون فيما هاهنا آمنين. Now this is, do you think you will be forever left secure in what you have here? Where there's a beginning, there's an end. Forgetting because of when things are going well, when things are excellent, when things are tranquil, when you have peace, when you have security, when you have abundance, and you think that is all is going to remain the same. How many people they went to bed, and I'm not talking about individuals, which could be the case. I'm talking about small places. How many countries they went to bed and the next day there was a war without taking sides? One can explain the geopolitics, one can explain the mistakes behind dragging Ukraine and trying to bring them closer to NATO, but one day they woke up to a war, and it's been now for a few years without a solution in the horizon, with a major attack by Ukraine yesterday on Russian military targets. And if they keep stepping on Putin's toe, there has been statements about nuclear attacks, maybe tactical, but still things don't look well. But the idea, don't forget, we began with one day you were okay, things were okay, and then things changed. And to go back to the status quo until it takes time, sometimes a long time. So he reminded them, Salih alayhi salam, he reminded his people, do you think that you will be left secure in what you have here, left secure forever, amid gardens and springs and various crops and palm trees loaded with tender fruit? طلعها هضيم. When you have, if you read about the interpretation of طلعها هضيم, it's when the fruits, when the Of course, when you talk about palm trees, it's almost like a cluster, and sometimes it's full packed on top of each other, moist. And it has been said الرطب الهضيم, but also ومن اليابس الهشيم. But الرطب, I think the because of the word هضيم, probably the رطب. In English, you have only dates. In Arabic, we have different stages of ripeness. When it's the very initial state of ripening, it's balah, sweet, tart, orangish. Then it becomes darker, literally dark brown, but it is still very moist. This is, I think, the hadim. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala a'la wa alam. Not a personal opinion. Al-hadim al-ratib al-layyin. Yes. And it has been, there are other interpretations, and there's no contradiction. So when Hassan al-Basri said about hadim, it's the one that has no, it's like it doesn't have a pit. Well, you can just simply bring two together. عكرمة قتادة said it's الرطب أو الرطب اللين. It's that which is moist and soft, and you can say also that is pitted, or So sometimes when you pull the date, the its pit will still be stuck on this the branch, the stalk. So we talk about security. We talk about gardens and springs, water. You talk about crops, palm trees, and that are loaded with tender fruits, dates. And now, وَتَنْحِتُونَ مِنَ الْجِبَالِ بُيُوتًا فَارِهِينَ, to carve homes in the mountains with great skill. To carve homes literally in the mountains, in the rock. من الجبال. You are carving out homes, palaces, massive. It's an amazing thing, and it's a place. So if you pass by the place of Thamud, to my knowledge, the sunnah is to hasten your pace, to have to move as quickly as possible from that land, because it's a land that witnessed divine punishment. If you look at them, you will be amazed about the craft. But one can think about why it has been abandoned, why it's lifeless. Fear Allah, so fear Allah and obey me, and do not follow the command of the transgressors, who spread corruption throughout the land, never setting things right. ولا تطيعوا أمر المسرفين الذين يفسدون في الأرض ولا يصلحون. The reaction we have heard this before. قالوا إنما أنت من المسحرين. They replied by saying, you are simply bewitched. So it's a personal attack. They ignored the message. Another thing, ما أنت إلا بشر مثلنا فأتي بآية إن كنت من الصادقين. You are only a human being like us, so bring forth a sign if what you say is true. Of course it's going to be a human being like them. If Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent an angel, the angel will take place It will take the form of a human being, uh, anthropomorphic. Remember, for example, when Sayyidina Jibreel alayhi salam, when he was with his companions, and they saw a man whose clothes were white, without any spotless, very white, very white. And no, it doesn't appear that he has been traveling. If you travel in the desert and you come from because the companions, they did not know him. If he is not a resident of Medina, then he must be traveling, but it doesn't show that he was traveling. And he went all the way to the Prophet ﷺ, and he leaned his knees against his knees, and he put his hands on his on his legs, and he asked him questions. He asked him about Islam, asked him about Iman. To the first case is the 5 pillars of Islam. Second case is the articles of faith. The third one was about Ihsan, which basically one can talk about excellence, but with definitely the etymology is also about beauty. Do things to a degree of perfection. But in that hadith, the answer came, the definition of ihsan is to worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as if He sees you, for if you don't see Him, He sees you. And he asked him about the hour, he asked him. But the point here is that it has to be a human being. Now the sign was a she-camel, ناقة. He said, قال هذه ناقة لها شرب ولكم شرب يوم معلوم. So Salih said, here's a camel, here's a she-camel, ناقة. She will have her turn to drink as you have yours, each on an appointed day. So you cannot compete with the naqa when it's her time to drink. ولا تمسوها بسوء فيأخذكم عذاب يوم عظيم. And do not ever touch her with harm, or you will be overtaken by the torment of a tremendous day. They did not heed the call, they did not listen. They killed the she-camel. فعقروها فأصبحوا نادمين. But they killed her, becoming regretful. Consequence, فأخذهم العذاب, so the punishment overtook them. إن في ذلك لآية. إن في ذلك لآية وما كان أكثرهم مؤمنين. So the punishment overtook them. Surely in this is a sign, yet most of them would not believe. وإن ربك لهو العزيز الرحيم, and your Lord is certainly the Almighty, most merciful. A typical story of a community that rejected their own prophet, they rejected belief in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and they transgressed. And the rejection could be envy. You are nothing but a human being like us, as if they say, why you? In the case of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, they said, why revelation did not really, why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did not choose a man, a great man, and they would not have believed anyhow, no matter who would have been chosen. Adam alayhi salam, that was the beginning. There were no titles yet. There were no family trees. There was no time to socially construct a status, socially constructed status. There was no time. Nuh alayhi salam, Nuh, as, as simple as that. No special titles, no. It's not Al Nuh, it's Nuh. It's not Al Adam, as he was the beginning, he was the first. Sayyidina Ibrahim alayhi salam, he was simply a youngster who challenged his own community. And many youngsters would realize they will have the courage to face their own community. That's not going to be difficult. Sometimes it's very strange. We have seen people, I know personally people, who are very happy that their son or daughter became Muslim. And they are not really, it's not that they don't care about religion. In one case, I know from the United States, the parents are Protestant priests. Their daughter became Muslim, and they are very happy for her. It's an amazing accommodation and acceptance. I've known people, different contexts, but in that particular case, it's an amazing also because of the background of the parents. But in general, that's not the case. That's not the case. And all the things that have been mentioned do not guarantee continuity. They don't protect you, they don't. It's zina. All these things are zina. They are blessings from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The gardens, the springs. But if you look, if what we see today is exactly the place where the people of Saleh dwelled, there are no gardens, there are no springs. It's a sober scene. One might be interested in the history, the archaeology, but the houses that they have carved in the mountains, inside the mountain, palaces, massive entrances, decorated, etc. They are standing there as a sign. One might speak about our own towering places. They are zina, in the sense of they could be also distraction. And ultimately, they refused, they rejected when he told them, do not obey the transgressors. They are their elite, their leaders, their elite. And the elite really, in many cases, they just guide their people to destruction. Not all of them. The Queen of Sheba, she led her community to faith. They were a strong community, wealthy community, but she led her community to faith. She accepted the faith. She believed in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, along with Prophet Sulaiman, Prophet Solomon, peace upon him. What we should know about this she-camel, when they asked about for a sign from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, in the interpretation is that Sayyidina Salih alayhi salam, he prayed and he asked Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to he did not know, of course, the nature of the sign, but he asked for a sign as a response to their request, and that she camel came from a rock that split, and but they saw it in right before their eyes, and they benefited from the presence of the she camel, and they benefited from its own milk. Ultimately, they made the wrong decision of killing the she camel. The result, their adab, their punishment, severe earthquake, and there is a severe sound, and a severe sound. People might not understand that sound could kill. That's something that people don't realize. Sound, the frequency at high speed. There are said, some sound might destroy your lungs at a certain decibel. And around, I think, if it reaches like 190, 194 decibels, there will be emptiness in front of it will create a low pressure regions that will become completely empty. It's almost like a wave that clears everything. So sound kills, it destroys above a certain level. وأصبحوا في ديارهم جاثمين. That was the end of the people of Thamud. And the next story is the people of Lut alayhi salam, and it's very famous. The people of Thamud, they were not, their story is not well known around the world like the punishment of the people of Lut alayhi salam, but that's exactly, inshallah, what we'll be talking about in the next session. Until then, subhanakallah wa bihamdik, ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta, astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.